Using some quilted fabric, some fabric tape or bias tape, a pattern piece, pins, and scissors, we're going to be making an oval placemat. The first item we'll need for our oval placemats is quilted fabric. You can get quilted fabric at your local fabric store, you can get it online, or you can make your own, and we'll post a link at the top of the screen for how you can make your own quilted fabric. The next item we'll need for our placemats is fabric tape or bias tape. You can get this from the store in a pack where it's already all rolled up. It comes in multiple different colors. We're going to be using white today, but if you don't have any fabric tape on hand and don't have a way to get any, you can make your own, and we'll provide a link at the top of the screen for how to make that. The final item that we'll talk about is the pattern piece for our placemat. So online on our blog, you'll be able to print out this pattern piece. It's a quarter of the placemat, so it's not the full placemat. So the best way to do this is maybe to cut out 4 of these, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you'll have an oval look that you'll be able to use that will end up being your placemat. Once you have your fabric cut out for your placemat and you have your bias tape cut out for your placemat, you're going to be pinning your bias tape to the edges of your placemat. You're going to be opening up your bias tape, and then you're going to be putting it onto the edges of your placemat. So if my bias tape is now folded open, I'm going to wrap it around the edge of my placemat, and I'm going to continue this all the way around. So once I have one piece, I'm going to put a pin in here and continue this until my entire placemat is covered. So now that I've gotten all the way through the end of pinning up my placemat, what I'm going to do is I have a little bit left over. So I'm going to cut some of this off, probably around right here on mine, and I'm going to fold it in and then have it cover this white part so that we can't see the raw edges for either piece of the bias tape, and we can just sew right around across the bias tape of the placemat, and our placemat would be complete. A handy little tip about bias tape is that one side is always slightly longer than the other side. So this is to allow when you're sewing it, you can be sure that you catch both sides. So on my placemat, this side is the shorter one. So I'm going to take a seam as close as possible to this edge all the way around my placemat. So I just took a top stitch on my bias tape all the way around my placemat. So I'm going to take all the pins out, trim up the 2 seams that I have, and then my placemat will be complete. My placemat is now complete, so that was really easy to do, and now you would continue this for as many placemats as you needed. Our next placemat we're going to look at is a rectangle placemat, so that in case you didn't really want this oval shape, you could also do a rectangle version. So this one side has these flowers, the other side has more of these lines, and some ideas you could do with this is maybe have 2 different seasons. So this side could be Halloween, this side could be Thanksgiving, so that you only have one item you actually have to store, but you could use it for multiple different purposes. With that said, let's get started on our rectangle placemat. Using 2 different types of cotton fabric, some batting, pins, and scissors, you can make your very own rectangular placemat. For our fabrics, I'm going to be using cotton fabric today, and you're going to want 2 different ones so that you can have a 2-sided placemat. You're going to be cutting out a rectangle that is 18 inches by 13 inches, and the dimensions for that will be on our blog. For your batting, you're going to want to cut it out in the same dimension, so you have an 18 by 13 inch rectangle piece of batting. Once everything is cut out, you can get started on your placemat. The first step is I'm going to take one of my fabric pieces and I'm going to place it right side up. Next, I'm going to take the second fabric piece and I'm going to lay it with right sides together on top of this one. My last step is I'm going to take my batting and I'm going to place it on top of both of my fabric pieces. Now that my fabrics are all layered together, I'm going to pin this up. Once it's pinned, I'm going to take a seam from this end all the way around to this end. I'm going to leave this side completely open. Now that my seam is all complete, I'm going to take the pins out and trim up the edges. At the edges, what I'm doing is just trimming across them so that when it comes time to turn it, it will be easier to turn and it will lay better. Now that my placemat is ready to go, I'm going to turn it right side out. At this point, you have two options. You could leave your placemat how it is, or you could iron it. I'm going to go ahead and iron mine so that it has a little bit more of a crisper look. Our next step with the placemat is we're going to take the raw edge and we're going to fold it in on itself about 1/2 inch. We will then pin up the entire edge so it is ready to be sewn. Now that my placemat is all pinned up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch around the placemat as close as possible to the edge. Next, I'm going to then move in about 1 inch or so and top stitch around the placemat again so that it kind of gives it a more rectangular shape and gives it a little bit more character. Now my top stitching is all complete. So I ended up doing about 1 inch on the longer edges and then 3/4 of an inch on the sides. I had messed up originally, but that's kind of the fun of sewing, is you can just kind of make it up as you go along. And I think it turned out really well. So what I'm going to do now is just trim up some of these loose strings and my placemat will be complete. And with that, my rectangular placemat is all complete. This was really fun. I like how, similar to the other placemat, I gave it 2 different patterns. I went with both blues for this one just because it was 2 fabrics that we had a lot of at my house. So as a reminder, this is our rectangular placemat, and then this is what our oval placemat looked like as well. So you can kind of pick which one works best for you and which one you like. If you enjoyed this video today and learned something from it, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.